反論せずにどうして勝てるのか。それではただの負けではないか。と、そう思われるかもしれませんな。わかります。しかしわしが申し上げたいのは、目先の議論で、相手を言い負かすといった、その場限りのちっぽけな勝ち負けの話では全くないのです。そうではなく、皆様方を一人お一人のその尊い人生そのものを、何者にも揺るがされない絶対的な幸福と、幸運の軌道に乗せる、そういう次元の違う、大いなる勝利のお話なのでございます。わしは、これまでの人生で本当に多くの人々を見つめてまいりました。世の中には、実に様々な方がおられます。心ない言葉で人を傷つけようとする人、自分の都合ばかりを押し付けて人を怒らせようとする人、あるいは、良かれと思ってのことでしょうが、皆様の考えを頭ごなしに否定してくる人、こういう経験は、どなたにもおありになるでしょう。そういう時、わしたちの心は実にたやすく涙ってしまう。かっと熱いものがこみ上げてきたり、なんくそ、わかってもらいたい。と、こちらの正しさを相手に認めさせようと躍起になってしまったり、そうやって知らず知らずのうちに、相手が仕掛けてきたそのイライラや怒りという、低い次元の土俵に、自分から進んで降りてしまってはいないでしょうか。少し、想像してみていただきたい。もし道端で、一匹の犬が皆様に向かってキャンキャンとけたたましく吠え立てていたとします。その時、皆様はどうなさいますか。まさか、同じように犬に向かって大声で怒鳴りつけたり、言い返したりはなさらないでしょう。ああ、何かに気に障ることでもあったのかね。と、かわいそうに。と、そう心の中で思うて、人間としての尊厳を保ったまま、その場を静かに通り過ぎるのではないでしょうか。ところが不思議なことに、相手が同じ人間になった途端、わしたちはこの尊厳をいとも簡単に忘れてしまう。相手が怒りや不満や否定といった、言ってみれば心の低い波動でわしたちに吠え立ててきたとき、なぜわしたちまでがその尊い、穏やかであるべき心を捨てて、相手と同じ獣のような低い土俵で一緒になって吠え返そうとしてしまうのでしょうか。わしは反論するというのは、まさにこのことだと思うのです。いいですか。反論したくなったその瞬間、皆様の心は相手の放つその暗く、冷たく、消極的な心の波動に、自分から同調しに行っておるのです。まるで泥沼でもがいている人から手を出されて、ああ大変だ、とその手を掴んだが、最後、一緒になってその泥沼に引きずり込まれているのと全く同じことなのです。相手は、皆様を怒らせたいのかもしれない。皆様を、自分と同じ不平不満の低い世界に引きずり下ろしたいのかもしれない。それにまんまと乗ってカッと怒り、言い返したその瞬間、もう皆様の心の負けは決まっておるのです。たとえその議論で、相手を理屈で言い負かしたとしても、です。なぜなら、皆様のその大切な心は、相手の放った怒りや否定という心の毒で、すでに深く汚染されてしまっておるからです。その一度汚れてしまった心で、どうやって皆様の未来に幸福な運命を引き寄せようというのですか。どうやってその尊いお体を健康に保ち続けようというのですか。それは土台、無理な相談というものです。ですからまず第一の法則として、皆様の心の奥底に静かに、しかし強く刻みつけていただきたい。反論とは、相手の低い波動への完全なる同調であり、自ら心の平穏を手放す行為である。と、吠え立てる犬には吠え返さない。ただ人間としての本来の高い尊厳を持って、心の平穏を何よりも大切に守り抜く。心の中でこう思うてやればいいのです。おお、そうですか。しかし私はあなたとは違う世界におりますので。と、私は私の穏やかな心を何者にも私はしませんぞ。と、それで十分ではないでしょうか。次に、わしは言葉の力というものを、皆様にもう一度深く見つめ直していただきたいのです。わしがこの人生を通じて掴み取った、これは宇宙の絶対的な法則だと確信するものがあります。それはわしたちが日々何気なく使っている、この言葉というものこそが、わしたちの現実を、未来を作り上げている、その設計図そのものだということです。昔の日本の偉大な先人たちは、このことを言霊と呼びました。言葉には魂が、力が宿っておるということです。 このあまりにも強大な言霊の力を、皆様方は一体どのようにお使いになっておられますかな。どうか想像していただきたい。もし皆様方が、それは美しく、手入れの行き届いた、色とりどりの花が咲き誇る、素晴らしい心の庭園を持っていたといたします。そのご自慢の大切な庭園に、皆様はわざわざお物やゴミや腐った悪臭を放つものを、好んでまき散らすでしょうか。なさるわけがありませんな。ご自身の宝物を、なぜ自らの手で汚し荒らす必要がありましょうか。では改めてお伺いいたします。皆様方の人生、皆様方の運命、そして皆様方の心という、この世で何者にも代え難い、最も尊い聖なる皆様方、ご自身のその庭園に、なぜ、反論や非難や怒りや憎しみや不平不満といった、この世で最も汚れた心の汚物を、それほどまでに平気でまき散らしておられるのですか。相手がこう言ったから言い返す。相手が間違っているから正してやる。相手が理不尽だから文句を言ってやらねば気が済まない。これらはすべて、皆様方ご自身のその聖なる心の庭園に、ご自身のその手で強力な毒をまいておるのと、寸分違わぬ行為なのですぞ。反論の言葉、争いの言葉、否定の言葉というのは、どれもこれも心が消極的な状態にあるときに生まれてくるものです。暗く、冷たく、重たい、力のない波動を持っておる。そんな消極的な言葉が、どうして皆様の未来の人生を積極的に、力強く、幸運に切り開いていく、そのエネルギーになるものですか。いいですか。皆様が相手に向かって、あなたは間違っている、と強く叫んだといたします。その瞬間、その間違っているという消極的な否定の言霊は、まず誰よりも先に、ご自身の耳から入ってまいります。そしてご自身の心の奥深く、潜在意識という土壌に深く深く刻印されるのです。私の周りの世界は間違ったことばかりだ。と、私の周りには間違った人間ばかりがいる。と、そうご自身でご自身に、これ以上ないほど強力な自己暗示をかけておられるのです。その結果どうなりますかな。ますます皆様の目には、世の中の間違いだらけの腹立たしい現実ばかりが映るようになってまいります。当たり前ではありませんか。ご自身がそういう世界を、ご自身の言葉の力で望んで作り出しておられるのですから。宇宙はただ、皆様が発した言葉通りの現実を、はいどうぞ、と忠実に見せてくれておるだけなのです。ですからわしは、声を大にして申し上げたいのです。反論せずに勝ち取りなさい。と、皆様方のその、万物を創造するほどの尊い言葉の力を、ちっぽけな他人との言い争いのために二度と使ってはなりません。皆様方の言葉の力は、ただひたすらに、皆様方ご自身の人生をこの上なく幸福に、この上なく豊かに、この上なく健康に輝かせるためにのみ、お使いいただきたいのです。もし何か心ない言葉を投げかけられたらどうするか。言い返してはなりません。心の中で静かに、しかし力強くこう宣言するのです。私は私の道を行く。私の人生はこれからますます良くなる。私はこの宇宙のすべての恵みに心から感謝する。そうやって積極的で美しく力強い言霊で、ご自身の心の庭園を常に清らかに保ち続けるのです。反論して相手を言いまかしたところで、皆様の心の庭園は怒りと言い争いというゴミと瓦礫で、無残に荒れ放題になってしまう。反論せず、心の中で感謝と祝福の言葉を唱えれば、相手がどうであろうとも、皆様の心の庭園はますます美しく花が咲き誇る。どちらが人生の真の勝利者か、これは火を見るよりも明らかではないでしょうか。ご自身の言葉の力を、ご自身の運命を破壊するためにお使いになるか、ご自身の運命を最高に輝かせるためにお使いになるか、それは他の誰でもない。皆様方ご自身が今この瞬間にも選んでおられるのですぞ。そしてもう一つ、どうか深くご自身の胸に手を当てて考えてみていただきたい。大切なことがございます。皆様が誰かにカッとなって反論したくなる。その心の奥の奥を、よく静かに覗いてみていただきたいのです。そこには一体何があるでしょうか。多くの場合、こうではありませんかな。相手を自分の思い通りに変えてやりたいという。 ある種の傲慢な心が隠れてはおらんかということです。相手のその間違いを私が正してやらねばならない。私のこの正しさを認めさせてみせる。と、そういう他人を支配しよう、コントロールしようとする欲望が顔を出していないでしょうか。わしは長年、この人間という不可思議な存在を見つめてまいりましたがね。他人を自分の言葉の力や理屈の力で変えようとして、本当に成功した人間を、わしはただの一人も存じ上げません。いいですか。皆様、人間というものは、他人様からああしろ、こうしろ、お前は間違っていると言われたからといって、変わるものではないのです。人間というものは、ただただ自分自身の内側からの、雷に打たれたような強烈な気づきによってのみ、本当に変わることができる生き物なのです。皆様方がどれほど正しい理屈を並べ立てて、どれほど熱心に大声で反論したところで、相手の心はそれこそ1ミリたりとも動きはせんのです。いや、むしろその逆でございます。人間というものは悲しいかな。正論で殴られれば殴られるほど、かえって堅くなになる生き物なのです。自分を守るために心の鎧をますます厚くしてしまう。皆様が反論すればするほど、相手はますます皆様の敵としての姿勢を固めてしまうだけなのです。それはまるで、空が雨を降らせているときに、天に向かっておい、お空様、なぜ私の都合の悪いときに雨を降らすのだ。今すぐやめたまえ、晴れなさい、と必死で怒鳴りつけているのと、全く同じことでございます。なんとも滑稽な姿ではありませんか。お空は皆様のご都合など知ったことではありません。ただ天の、宇宙の法則に従って、降るべき時に雨を降らせておるだけです。他人の心というのも、この天候のようなものだと思ってごらんなさい。皆様の思い通りになど、決してなりはせんのです。その人はその人なりの、今までの人生で培ってきたその人なりの理屈や感情という、その人だけの法則で動いておるだけなのです。それが皆様の目から見てどれほど間違ってまみえようとも、どれほど理不尽に感じられようとも、です。雨が降ってきたら賢明な皆様はどうなさいますかな。空に文句を言いますかな。違うでしょう。そっと傘を差すでしょう。あるいは軒下で雨宿りをするでしょう。あるいは、いっそのこと、まあたまには雨も良いものだ、とその風情を楽しむかもしれません。いずれにしても相手、つまり天候を変えようとはせず、ご自身のやり方、ご自身の心の持ち方を変えるだけではありませんか。人生。全くこれと同じことでございます。皆様の意に沿わない人間、皆様を批判したり否定したりする人間に出会ったら、それは、ああ、心の雨が降ってきたな、とそう思ってごらんなさい。相手を変えようとして反論という、無駄な骨折りをするのではないのです。ただ静かに、ご自身の心の持ち方を変える。ご自身の心の傘をそっと開けばよいのです。ああそうですか。あなたは今そういう心のお天気なのですね。と、あなた様のその心の雨に、私は濡れる必要はございません。私は私の心の平穏という傘を、静かにささせていただきますよ。と、その傘こそが、反論しないという積極的な心の態度なのです。どうか勘違いしないでいただきたい。反論しないということは、相手の理不尽な言い分をすべて受け入れなさいという意味ではもう到ありません。相手の言葉はあくまで相手のものです。それをわざわざ皆様が真正面から受け取って、皆様のその大切な心をびしょ濡れにする必要はない、と申し上げておるのです。ただ受け流せばよい。柳に風、と申します。まるで心地よい BGM でも聞くように、ただ聞き流してしまえばよいのです。相手の問題は相手にお返しする。皆様が背負う必要はないのです。そして皆様は、皆様のやるべきこと、皆様の人生の大切な使命を、ただ淡々と、しかし、燃えるような情熱を込めてやり続けていけばよい。他人を変えようとするその膨大な心のエネルギーを、すべてご自身をより高く、より深く、より豊かに高めるために使うのです。ご自身が光り輝く存在になるために使うのです。道端の石ころを、これは宝石だと言い聞かせ、必死で磨き、なぜ輝かないのだと反論を繰り返しても、石は石でしかありません。それよりも皆様ご自身が、 まばゆいばかりの本物の宝石となる努力をなさることです。皆様が本物の宝石として輝きさえすれば、周りの石ころが何をわめこうと、皆様のその価値は1ミリたりとも傷つくことなどありはしないのですから、他人に構っているいとまはありません。ただひたすらに、ご自身を磨くのです。そうやって反論という、心のエネルギーの無駄遣いを一切やめたとき、皆様の心はどうなると思われますかな。驚くほど静かになります。穏やかになります。湖面のように静まり返った心の中に、今まで他人との争いや言い訳に使っていたあの莫大な心のエネルギーが、すべて皆様ご自身のものとして内側に満ち満ちてくるのが、はっきりとお分かりになるはずです。これこそが、わしが生涯を通じて何よりも大切にしてまいりました。積極心という心のあり方なのでございます。積極心とは難しいことではありません。どんな出来事が起ころうとも、皆様の心が本来の明るさ、朗らかさ、喜び、感謝、そして平穏に満ちている状態のことです。心が怒りや不満や恐れや憎しみや悲しみといった消極的な感情に一切占領されていない状態のことです。いいですか。皆様方がこの人生で守り抜くべき、たった一つの宝物があるとすれば、それはご自身の正しさなどではありません。そんなものは人によって、場所によって、時代によってコロコロと変わってしまう、実に曖昧で頼りないものです。皆様方がそれこそご自身の命に変えても守り抜くべき宝物、それはただ一つ、皆様方ご自身のその積極心、ただそれだけでございます。そしてこの反論という行為こそが、この最も大切な宝物、積極心を真正面から打ち砕く最大の敵なのです。相手が皆様に消極的な言葉を投げかけてきた。それに対して皆様がカッとなり、反論という消極的な言葉を返した。その瞬間に、皆様の心はもう積極的な状態ではありません。相手と全く同じ消極という暗い泥沼に、どっぷりと浸かってしまっておるのです。そんな消極的な心の状態で、どうやってこの宇宙の大いなる幸運を引き寄せる法則とつながることができるというのですか。宇宙の法則はいつでも実にシンプルなのです。積極的な心の状態には、積極的な素晴らしい現実が引き寄せられる。消極的な心の状態には、消極的な望まない現実が引き寄せられる。ただそれだけなのです。良い悪いではありません。それが法則なのです。皆様がどのような理不尽な仕打ちを受けようとも、そこでぐっとこらえ、反論という愚かな行為をせず、ああ、こういうこともあるものだ。しかし私の心はびくともせんぞ。私はそれでも私の人生を最高に幸福にすると固く決めておる。私はこの試練とも見える経験にさえ感謝するぞ。と、まるで大地に根を張った大木のように強靭な積極心を保ち続けたといたします。その時です。その瞬間にこの大いなる宇宙は、皆様のその何者にも揺るがない積極的な心の態度に感動するのです。そして皆様を真の人生の勝利者として認めざるを得なくなる。するとどうでしょう。不思議なことが起こり始めます。今まであれほど皆様を悩ませていたその理不尽な人間が、なぜか不思議と皆様の前から姿を消していく。あるいは転勤になったり、あるいはなぜか急に態度が軟化したりする。それどころか皆様のその何事にも動じない堂々たる態度に圧倒され、尊敬の念さえ抱いてくるかもしれません。たとえもしそうでなかったとしても、その頃には皆様ご自身にはもう、そんな人間のことはどうでもよくなっておるはずです。なぜなら皆様の心はすでに、そんな低いレベルの争いには一切興味がなくなっておるからです。皆様の心はもっと高く、もっと素晴らしく、もっと豊かな積極的な現実を、次から次へと引き寄せ始めておる。新しい素晴らしいご縁、思いもよらなかった幸運なチャンス、体の奥底からまるで温泉のように湧き上がってくる健康な力。これこそが、わしが皆様にお伝えしたい、反論せずに勝つということの、本当の意味なのでございます。目先の言い争いに勝つことでは断じてない。そんなものは負け犬同士が泥の中で慰め合っている泥仕合に過ぎません。真の勝利とは、皆様ご自身の運命そのものを根底から好転させること、皆様の人生そのものを、何者にも揺るがすことのできない絶対的な幸福の状態に、 堂々と引き上げていくことなのです。いいですか、皆様。もう一度わしの言葉をご自身の魂に深く刻みつけていただきたい。皆様方の人生は他人が決めるのではありません。皆様方の心の持ち方ただ一つで、この瞬間からどうにでも変えていくことができるのです。このそれほどまでにたっとく無限の可能性を秘めた皆様の心、他人様の心ない言葉への反論や言い争いという、この人生で最もくだらない行為のために、二度と汚したり傷つけたりしてはなりませんぞ。怒りの低い波動に自分から同調してはなりません。皆様は吠える犬に吠え返すような愚かな存在ではないはずです。人間としての尊厳をお忘れなきよう。皆様のその尊い言霊を、ご自身の人生を破壊するために使ってはなりません。皆様の人生という庭園には、ただひたすらに感謝と喜びと愛と積極的な祝福の言葉の種だけをまき続けようではありませんか。他人を無理やり変えようとしてはなりません。それは空に文句を言うのと同じ愚かなことです。変えるのはいつでもただ一つ、ご自身の心の持ち方だけでございます。そして何があろうとも、ご自身の命に変えても、皆様ご自身のその積極心、明るく朗らかな心を断固として守り抜きなさい。それさえできれば、皆様の運命はこの大いなる宇宙のすべてが味方して、必ずや望むがままに好転してまいります。もうお分かりいただけましたかな。反論しないということは、決して忍耐でも我慢でも、ましてや敗北でもないのです。これこそが人間が取り得る、最も積極的で、最も賢明で、最も力強い、人生勝利の絶対的な戦略なのでございます。さあ、今日この瞬間から始めてごらんなさい。もしまた皆様の心を波立たさせるような理不尽な言葉や出来事に出会ったとしたら、その時こそチャンスです。心の中でにっこりと笑ってごらんなさい。そしてこう静かに、しかし力強く宣言なさい。私は反論しない。私は私のこの尊い心を断固として守る。私は私の人生を必ず勝利させるのだ。と、そうやって皆様方お一人お一人が、ご自身の人生の本当の、そして永遠の勝利者となっていかれますことを、わしは心の底から信じております。皆様方なら必ずできます。わしの今日の言葉が、皆様の魂の奥深くにまで温かく届き、皆様の明日からの大切な人生を、より一層力強く健やかに、そして幸福に輝かせる一助となることを、心から願ってやみません。さあ、どうぞお行きなさい。もうくだらない争いに、皆様のその貴重な時間と生命のエネルギーを、一秒たりとも使ってはなりません。皆様の人生は、そんなちっぽけなことのためにあるのではないのですから。皆様の人生は、もっともっと素晴らしく価値あるもののためにあるのですから。この知恵が、皆様の魂に、温かい光を灯し、人生を根底から、より良きものへと変えていく、きっかけとなったと信じております。もしわしらのこれらの言葉が、皆様の心の金銭に触れたのであれば、どうかこの偉人たちの知恵の輪に、加わっていただけませんかな。またここで、お会いできるのを楽しみにしております。
So as we are moving forward in this gathering today, it is our desire to assist you in remembering who you are. We want you to reclaim that stable footing of remembering the powerful, creative genius who loves and is loved that you are. In many cases, in fact in most cases, that's going to take some deliberate directing of your thought because you have, without meaning to, become rather accustomed at focusing upon what is. And when you are bound up in traffic in your car, often you let that set your tone. If we were standing in your physical shoes, we would not let any moment in time be the basis for the vibration that we are offering. As you look only at what is, then you just keep escalating what is. And while we know that what is in your experience right now, much of it pleases you, some of it doesn't, we would like you to become more selective sifters so that as you are looking at what is with a deliberate intent to find among what is what feels good, then what begins to happen is you begin to clean up your vibration as you step back from the details of what you are living and you start feeling the resources that are really you. Then what is in this moment or in any moment has very little to do with the ongoing vibration that is you. So when something looks like it's going wrong, you accept it as the anomaly that it is. We really want you to hear that. When something goes wrong, like if there's a sickness in your body, we want you to feel surprised about it because it's so weird that something other than wellness would be your experience. When you feel short of money, we would like you to be sort of shocked by that. How odd that is. How odd that is. Because that's not who I am. That's not the way it usually goes for me. This worry that I have about money is just weird. This is not the way it is supposed to be. We want you to practice, and we'll show you how to do it. We'll talk about it all day here today. We want you to practice the thoughts that are so matching to the clear-minded, healthy, prosperous, loving, loved being that you really are. That when you look into your environment, whether it's up close to you or more on a global scale, and you see things that you just know are not the way you want them to be, you just sort of stand back in sort of amazement for a moment as you remember that's not the way it is supposed to be, and then you turn your attention to the way it really is supposed to be and to the way that it really is. And in time, it is our promise to you that no matter what's happening in the environment, close or far from you, you will stand in such a vibrational, stable footing that you will not feel insecurity about things that you can do nothing about. Because you will come to realize that, and here it is, the most important thing that you have ever heard us say. Oh, no, what was it? The things that you can do nothing about have nothing to do with you. If you can do nothing about it, it doesn't matter. In other words, you can change the way you feel. That matters, because that's your point of attraction. You can't change the way someone else feels. That doesn't matter, because their point of attraction doesn't have anything to do with you. You can change what you do, what you say, what you think. That has a great deal to do with you, because that's your vibration. That's your point of attraction. You can't change what somebody else thinks, but that doesn't matter, because that doesn't have anything to do with you. As physical friends who have been looking so much into the environment, to the reality of that which is, you let way too much of your vibrational countenance come as a reflection of what you are observing in your environment. And what we are wanting to help you to discover is you want to be aware of the vibration that you're offering, which means you want to be aware of the way you are feeling, and you want to be in control of the vibration that you are offering, which means you want to be in control of the way that you are feeling, but you will never be in control of the way others are feeling. You will never be in control of their vibration, and it does not matter, because that's their point of attraction, not your point of attraction. So then you say, well, Abraham, I sort of get that. I've been playing with this enough. I get it that when I think thoughts that feel good and I get into this vibration of connection, that my life goes better. And it goes better and better and better and better. I know that. I've been showing myself that. But I'm a teacher. I'm an uplifter. I want others to be uplifted too. And I feel bad for them when they are not. And we say, don't get carried away with your empathizing with where someone else is. Because if you do, you will don the vibration that is theirs, and then you will suffer as they suffer. And you say, but isn't there some sort of value in that? Isn't that what a real friend does? And we say a real friend stays connected to source so that you have something to give to someone else. And you say, but when I feel really good, it doesn't seem right that there are others that are suffering or hurting or confused. And we say you cannot get sick enough to help sick get well. You cannot get poor enough to help poor become prosperous. You cannot get confused enough to help confused have clarity. You only join them in the disconnection. And that's not what your intention was. You said, I will come forth and I will stay connected to that which is source, and I will be a bright light that will inspire others to the same. I will maintain my vibration of connection. So, what is the vibration of connection? Well, that's this allowing thing that we've been talking about. That's allowing myself to be connected to source no matter what. That's allowing myself to stay in vibrational harmony with who I really am. The art of allowing is finding a vibration that feels so good when I find it and feels better and better as I maintain it and gives me evidence of that connection through thriving. The immediate response of that connection is joy in the moment. The long-range evidence is abundance in all things that I consider to be good, like health and relationship and dollars. The art of allowing can sometimes be more easily heard by the path of least resistance. It's the same thing. Because here I am, an extension, a physical extension of source energy. And in any moment, which is where all of my power is, as you stand in your now, that's where all of your power is. Your power to allow your connection, or your power to pinch it off. Your power to feel joy, or your power to feel pain. So as you stand here in this powerful moment, making choices one by one, the better feeling thought, the better feeling thought, the better feeling thought, you are choosing the path of most allowance, but you could say you are choosing the path of least resistance. So these paths, are they paths that everyone needs to follow? Well, first we have to say to you that it would never be one path. The path of least resistance is the path that for you right now feels the best, which means it's the path that allows you the greatest connection with who you really are. So let's say that you've been fussing with your partner that you are driving in the car with. And what it feels to you like is at stake here is the validity of who is the wisest one. So the path of least resistance for you might feel like you would like the other one to be wrong. Might feel pretty good. I'll go the way he wants to go. And when we're lost, then he'll know. Then there will be evidence who was the smartest one. So what we want to discuss with you is why that feels good, because you got to admit it does. It sort of feels better to be the one who's right. If the question is, am I right or wrong, which feels better? Which feels better? I'm right or I'm wrong? I'm right. Which feels better? I'm right and he's wrong, or he's right and I'm wrong? Which feels better? I'm right, he's wrong. Which feels better? We're both right. Feels better, but can't possibly be. We disagree. How can we both be right? And it matters to me that I'm right. It matters to me that I'm right because I want to be right. I've practiced wanting to be right for a really long time. And so it seems right that it seems much more important than that I be right than that we get to where we're wanting to go. I'd rather get lost and be late than for him to be right. So what's screwy with all of this? In other words, if Abraham, you say, follow the path of least resistance, which means find the feeling that feels the best. And I got to tell you, it feels a lot better for us to get lost going his way and for my way to be the right way. And we say, we think that you might want to step back a little bit from the immediacy of this desire and see if there's another desire in there somewhere that you could find vibrational resonance with. Like, do you prefer to see value in your partner, or would you like your partner to have no value? Well, when you put it that way, I want my partner to have value. when you don't put me in competition with my partner, I would like my partner to win. Or how about this? How about if someone else joins? Now there are 3 of you in the car, and the third one you don't know very well. And when your partner says, go this way, the guy in the back seat said, that's the most stupid thing I've ever heard in my life. You're going to get her lost. And then you would say, no, he won't. In other words, you might defend him then, because this person in the back seat is a stranger to you and is being abusive to your friend. So let's see if we can unravel the chaos that we have produced here for you. What we are getting at here is, if you are trying to sort out the rightness and the wrongness of this and that and the other, trying to find the path of least resistance by just following what feels best in the moment, without doing any real preparation of connecting to who you are first, then you're not going to be able to tell the path of least resistance from the path of most annoyance. In other words, you get out there on this sort of petty, insignificant edge where one thing feels about as bad as another, and you come away from it feeling like you have no true guidance. And then that's what makes you want to join together in groups, where the group that has the loudest voice is the group that you feel must be the most right, so that's the group you try to follow. What we're wanting to help you to rediscover as you are reaching for this art of allowing and this path of least resistance is, we want you to first connect with the guidance that comes forth from within you. So let's say that morning you awakened, and even before you awakened, the night before, as you went to bed, you laid in your bed and you acknowledged the value of your life, and you, in your mind, made a list of things that you appreciate about your world, about your home, about your family, about your partner, about yourself. And you went to sleep in this soothing vibration of well-being, where you just activated within yourself on purpose things that made you feel good. So your inner being joined you fully before you drifted off into slumber. And when you awakened in that similar vibration, because your vibration is always where you last left it. And so you awakened feeling rather good. And instead of bouncing out of bed and feeling resistant about the day, again, you laid there and felt appreciation and deliberately connected with the energy of your source. And you went through a sort of short list of things that are easy to appreciate. And high on the list is this person that you spend so much of your life with. And so you thought about things, and you looked for positive aspects, and you gave mental compliments, even though the person is not within earshot. You laid there feeling good, and you got yourself in vibrational alignment with who you are. And then, as you moved into your day, your timing was particularly good. And as you got into your automobile and you made your motion into traffic, you found the traffic to be like it usually is. In other words, it didn't evaporate. There was no miraculous missing traffic. But the traffic that was there seemed to be flowing, and your entrance into it was good, and you felt very good. You feel good about life. You feel good about where you're going. You feel good about your mate. And you say, I think I will go this way today. And your mate says, oh, really? You know, I was thinking maybe we should go this way.
We don't need to tell you about law of attraction. Law of attraction is like the law of gravity. You can't turn it off, and it is always responding to everything you've got going on vibrationally. It is responding to what you've got going on. It equals your point of attraction. In other words, law of attraction is responding to what you've got going on. So for a while we've been explaining to you that as contrast causes you to know what you want more clearly, and always in the beginning of that knowing what you want, because the contrast has given birth to it, you're not vibrationally up to speed with it. There is this vibrational gap that's going on because law of attraction is now responding to your inner being who is in the vortex, who is lining up all of the cooperative components big time in order to assist you in the full manifestation and realization of everything that you want. And here you are, having whatever thoughts and beliefs and expectations that you had usually before you launched the desire. So there is this sort of duality going on where law of attraction is responding to both parts of you. The in the vortex part of you and the potentially not in the vortex part of you. So You've got this sort of split going on often that feels like frustration or overwhelmment that now it is your job to do something about. And that's why we talk to you all day, every day about the art of allowing, about assessing the vibrational difference between who you have actually become. Are you getting what we mean? Do you believe that when you launch a rocket that your inner being actually embraces it and becomes it? Do you know that when you're sick, vibrationally you're weller? That when you don't have enough of something, that vibrationally you have more of it, that when you're confused, vibrationally you're clearer. In other words, this is the way this dynamic universe and the evolution of all species occurs. So there is this vibrational part of you who is calling you home, calling you home, calling you home. And we want to say to you, you're going. The question is, are you going willingly? Because if you relax into it, if you just let go, if you just acknowledge you've done the work, the isness of the vibrational reality is in place. The cooperative components have already been assembled. They will show you amazing things. You will defy the logic of all kinds of people as this vortex does its work. The question is, where are you in vibrational relationship to it? So we've been talking about this for a while, and many of you have been hearing us for a while. Esther certainly has been hearing it for a long while. And she said to Jerry the other day, you know, it's interesting how in all of this that I've been hearing, I realize that I've still been counting on my action for far more than I meant to. Because in many cases, I don't really have to line up with my vortex because I've got people who can just bang it into place. I'll just call someone and say, this is out of whack. Can you take care of it? And they do. They're really good at wrestling things to the ground. But in the process of that, Esther realizes that she doesn't move her vibration. She just calls someone and they wrestle something else to the ground. And then she realizes that sometimes she can create more brush fires than she has brush fire putter-outers. And then a sort of clarity is beginning to occur to many of you. We've been talking about this vortex. You get it, don't you? Conceptually, it's an idea that you can wrap your thoughts around. And we've been letting you know that there is potentially a vibrational gap between who you really are, which is the done deal, the vibrational doneness, it's done, it's done, it's done, and what you have so far allowed to manifest because of what's going on vibrationally. And Esther said to Jerry the other day, you know, I realize that I've loved the idea of the vortex and I have wanted to be in it as much as I can. So I have been approaching my reality by trying to think the thoughts that make me align with my vortex. Makes sense. Look for things to appreciate. Look for things to bask about. If I find myself feeling negative about something, pivot from it. Say to myself, I know what I don't want. What is it that I do want? Which is a logical approach to lining up with your vortex. But Esther said, this last week or so, it has flipped for me because now I get it that if I let the vortex and what it means and how it feels be all that I'm thinking about, then in establishing my relationship with the vortex, and every day I'm in it, many times, if I milk my vortex when I'm in it, if I keep it going when I'm there, if I find myself on a happy thought and I rampage it longer, if I let my vortex be my undivided intention, if I let my vortex be what I'm reaching for, I now get it, she said, that my vortex affects my manifestation. It's a different way of approaching it. In other words, what we want you to gather as a result of the conversation that we're having here today, and as a result of what's going to go on in your lives in the next hours and days and weeks, as a result of what you pick up from this leading edge conversation, what you're going to come to know is that you have complete control over every manifestation that happens in your life if you approach it from inside the vortex, for example. So something happens. Maybe someone walks into your experience and they don't jive with you in the way you would like them to. They're annoying in some way, or they're unknowledgeable in some way, or they're belligerent in some way. They're abusing someone in some way. It doesn't matter. You witnessed it and you're having a knee-jerk response to it. And as you're having this negative emotion, the reason you're having the negative emotion is because you're responding to it in the way that you are. And if you feel negative emotion, it means that your inner being is responding to it in an entirely different way. In other words, what you're feeling isn't about what you've witnessed. It's about your relationship with the larger part of you who's having a different experience. Can you hear that? Because who you really are is loving this obnoxious person, even though you are not. And so the rift that you've got going on is the separation is too strong of word between who you really are and who you're being. So that's a manifestation that happened. This is the thing that we want you to realize. That person walked into your life and you experienced that manifestation. When we talk about manifestations, we know you think we're talking about cars and empires and legacies and books and relationships and all those pinnacle sort of things that you have been thinking of in terms of goals that you're reaching for. But we want you to understand that what manifestations are, what we really mean by manifestation is what's happening now. This is a manifestation. This room, these lights, these screens, this sound, this people, this global audience. This is a manifestation that's happening right here and now. Your relationship with your chair, your relationship with the people you're sitting next to. This is a manifestation. It's happening now. Manifestation. Everything that is happening around you is a manifestation that is evidence of one thing and one thing only: your relationship with your vortex. Your relationship with your vortex. So the fact that this annoying person is there, or this belligerent person is there, is your manifestation, which is simply reflecting back to you your relationship with your vortex. That's all. And that's what's so interesting. Esther nearly fell off the bed, and then the chair, and then the car, and then the bed, and then the chair, and then the car. As these processes have been going through her mind, the thought processes, as she realizes that everything that's happening is a reflection of only one thing: her relationship with the vortex. So, for example, Esther said to Jerry, if I were to do something for you kitchen-wise, in my beautiful new kitchen, what would you like it to be? And Jerry said, I would like oatmeal and raisin cookies. And Esther said, consider it done. So she went to the kitchen, snatched everything out of the cupboard except baking soda, which was not there, because she has never baked in this kitchen before. And so she said to Jerry, I'm on the hunt for baking soda. And Jerry said, I think I saw some in the refrigerator at the guest house, because Sylvia has freshened everything, and I think it's in there, like a freshener thing. So Esther said, I'm on it. So she jumped in the car. Now, their garage is carpeted, which is a little tricky, because on 3 occasions, Jerry has ended up at a restaurant with no shoes on. Because it just feels logical to get in the car from the car. So now Esther jumps in the car, goes through a gate or two, goes to the guest house, steps out into the gravel in her stocking feet, and says, right out loud, can someone please explain to me why I'm here in my stocking feet? And then she tiptoes down the pathway into the cottage and thinks to herself, surely there are a pair of shoes or carpet slippers in the closet. So she walks into the closet and finds herself in very wet carpet. She calls Fidel, and he tells her, as he examines it, that the air conditioner, no one's been in the cottage for a long time, the air conditioner's been running, it's plugged up, and it is draining into the closet. And Esther is saying, now no one needs to tell me why I'm here in my stocking feet. In other words, a manifestation, a path of least resistance. Jerry wants cookies. He wants the kind of cookies that don't have the baking soda. The baking soda isn't in the house, but the baking soda is at the cottage. Esther goes in her stocking feet. Now, you might say coincidence. You might say, oh, that's one way to twist a really stupid story into something meaningful. But what it is the path of least resistance manifestation, because things are always working out for you. You see, things are always working out for you. Esther could not get back over to the house to tell Jerry fast enough. She wasn't even upset that the house smelled funky or that the carpet was wet or that she didn't know what the problem was. She was exhilarated that the universe had delivered to her an answer to a problem she did not even know she had, because things are always working out for her. You get what we're talking about. Manifestations. So, if you are feeling worried about something, what you're going to receive back as feedback from specialists, from anybody that knows, is information that doesn't have anything to do with your reality, doesn't have anything to do with your expected manifestational reality, doesn't have anything to do with anything except it's feedback to how you're feeling. You say, oh, this test or this x-ray or this conversation or this whatever is coming to me is a statement of fact. And we say, we'll give you that, but it's a statement of only one fact: your vibrational proximity to your vortex, period, end of story. So what we want you to begin to watch for, and it will be fun for you to watch, is that if you will hear us when we say that you have the ability to develop a personal and deliberate relationship with your vortex, with your inner being, with the larger part of you, with good feeling emotions, and if you will practice the vibration of it as often as you can and milk it when you find yourself there, so that you become so familiar with the feeling of who you really are, that you will see right before your eyes manifestations reflecting where you are. Personalities of people that you know will shift. Events that have been moving in one direction will shift. You have control. You are the creator of your own experience, because you are the creator of your relationship with your vortex. And when you get that, people will say to you, what's going on with you? Why is it that you defy the odds and you defy the logic and you turn heads wherever you go and things always work out for you no matter what? And you say, or maybe you don't, because some of them are ready to hear it and some of them are not ready to hear it. I am the creator of the manifestation that comes to me, and I can control what happens to me in traffic. I can control where I am when the weather is doing whatever it's doing. I can control the relationship that I have with airline flights. I can control the relationship that I have with my physical apparatus. I can control my relationship with my children and with strangers and with family. Family! I can control my relationship with family, because I don't have to control what they think or what they know or what they do. I have one very simple task. I know that who I really am exists as a loving, expansive, expanding, eternal being, and that part of me is the largest reality that exists. And I have access to the awareness of my relationship with that. And now I've got that down. Everything in my experience is not just working out for me eventually, it's working out for me now.